the slide will be great. So, hi everyone. It is really nice to be here with you this morning. I'm Mariana Roche. I'm part of the regulatory affairs team of the IOTA Foundation, and I'm also a member of the board at INABTA, where I also lead the sustainability working group. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about why actually blockchain is important for sustainability topics. And I want to give you some concrete examples because I think that the best way to actually understand where we can use the technology for sustainability is with concrete examples that are already deployed so you can see the impact. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the initiatives that we have right now in INABTA, which is working from bridging Web 2 and Web 3 projects in the sustainability topic. I kind of need the slides. No worries. Okay, I have a good memory. I can just walk them through in my head. Yeah, so one of the first things that I wanted to discuss, which is not in the slides, but it's going to be there. If you want the slides later, I'm happy to send it, is basically the difference that you have in how we understand value in linear economies and in circular economy. So when you are talking about value in a traditional linear economy, you are always thinking like revenue and profits. And this is really limiting. And when you change the whole mindset and start talking like, those are not my slides. When you start talking about value in the circular economy, you are talking about like an extended understanding of value. So it's not only revenue and profits, but you also have value in consideration to the impact that you have in the environment or the value that you can produce about the data that you are collecting from your customers or during the supply chain. And with this valuable data, we can do a lot of things. And this comes in particular because circular economy doesn't immediately represent sustainability. So circular economy is more about the life cycle of products and services, while sustainability relates more to the people, the planet, and prosperity. So if you can have a circular economy, like a circular solution, for example, when you try to implement in parts of the process solutions to actually keep products for longer time in the market, right? This is called refurbishing, and this is actually part of the circular economy principles. But if you use more water or you use energy in excess to actually keep those products on the market, those solutions are not sustainable because of the water consumption, the energy consumption. So at the end, you are not really, you're being circular, but you're not being sustainable. And here is where data actually becomes really interesting because understanding where are the different areas during the supply chain from the extraction of the raw material production until the refurbishing or the recycling of the products. Is data what is going to allow you to understand where you can actually have interventions that can become more sustainable. Data, as you know, depending on how you collected it or how you treat the data, is really susceptible to just be alterated. And here is where blockchain actually plays a really interesting role. Because once the data is in the blockchain, you know all the qualities of the blockchain. Once it's there, we know that this data is not going to be manipulated. Whether it's problem how we collected it or not, I'm going to show you some of the examples, if I get the slides at some point, on one of the projects that actually you are able to rank the data to actually see how much trust you can give into the data according to how it was collected and treated during the process. But as I mentioned, it's better to learn by example. So I wanted to talk about 3 examples with you today. The 3 examples are connected somehow to the supply chain. That is actually what we are going to discuss on the panel. The first one that I wanted to discuss with you is a project called DGIT. DGIT is actually a project that is implemented in a huge consortium with the European Commission. It's implemented in 7 mines in European countries, and basically what they're doing is trying to make the mining industry more sustainable. So basically what they're doing is creating digital twins of the mines by putting sensors directly on the mines to just read different kind of information, among them the quality of the air, the levels of productions, and they have a really interesting also use case where they are putting sensors on the safety guards of the workers so they can track the the heartbeat of the workers, but like through the blockchain, and of course this is a private blockchain, only the worker that is using the safety valve will actually like know if there is an alteration on the heartbeat and if they need to leave the mine due to air conditions or any kind of alterations on their health. So it's like an early alert for them to actually like remove themselves from the mine. So this is a really interesting use case because this technology is going to be like, of course, open source. So what it means is that like if we manage to implement this in Europe in these 7 mines that are part of the project, then we can take this use case and actually replicate it in other regions, in other mines where actually the mining industry is more problematic than in Europe. And of course, because this is an industry consortium, the different partners can share data, if they want, with the other mines about the issues that they're facing, which also help them to become more adaptable to potential climate change impact that they face in the regions where the mines are. The second project I wanted to discuss with you is a project called TLIP, which stands for like, that's what I need the slides, Trade Logistics, I will give you the name once I get the slides. TLIP stands for. And it's a project that is implemented with the IOTA Foundation and different countries in the East African region. And basically what we are doing is digitalizing the paper processes for crossing, for merchandises and goods to cross borders. So we have a huge pilot right now that is working with flowers and fishes that are like traveling, I think it's from Uganda to the UK. And all of these processes are like really slow sometimes when you need to cross borders. Sometimes like the goods get rotten in the ports while you actually like get the approval or certification to actually cross to one border. So what this project is doing is actually digitalizing the whole paper trade so the goods can move like faster across borders. And this also helped to generate or like to activate more the markets in East African countries. So we are actually like make them more competitive in the European market and in the global market, which also has an impact in the economy of these countries in East Africa. The project has been like so successful that I'm happy to say that now it's scaling and it's like moving beyond East Africa to other regions and is potentially going to become its own company outside of the IOTA Foundation. And the last project I wanted to discuss with you is the DMRB. The DMRB is also one of those amazing examples of a really good use case. Oh, look at that, my slides. I already talked about this, I say this. I have a good memory, I told you. I presented the 2 projects, I'm here. So yeah, the MRB, also feel free to send me a LinkedIn message. I'm happy to send this, like I normally always reply. So DMRB stands for like Digital Monitoring, Reporting, and Verification. This project started with the support of the Canadian government and Climate Check. And we did 2 pilots in Chile. And basically what we did was go into factories, put sensors on machines, and then we can understand the carbon emissions that is produced in the machine. We not only collected information from the sensors, I promised that I was going to talk about like actually ranking some data, is this project. We also collect data that is manually inputted for like the people that is working there. But like, if you're a climate researcher, which data are you going to trust more? The data that was collected by the sensor or the one that are working in Chile put like manually into the system? Well, of course the sensor, right? But like it doesn't mean that the other data is useless, but you need to know that there was some risk, that there was a human mistake in how the data was collected and processed. So we also cooperated with Dell and with the Albarium project. And what we did was actually generate a platform for climate researchers. So once the information is collected, depending on how it was collected, the Albarium program categorized the data and give it a rank. And then this information goes to a platform that is easy accessible for like climate researchers, so they can actually check the data, and the data have points, so they know how much trust they can give into this data. As I mentioned, there were like already 2 pilots. Right now, there is also a project going on with Google and gold standards. And this is one of the projects that is also going to become its own company because of the potential of this solution. Like we already tested it twice, it works. So now it's time for like actually the solution to go outside of the foundation and make more impact in different regions, not only Latin America. These 3 projects and everything that I have said can happen without partnerships. Like, this is the key component. I think you also mentioned it. And partnership is so important that it's not only one of the SDGs, it's like the SDG 17, Sustainable Development Goals, but it's also one of the pieces of the sustainable development in general. And this is what I wanted to mention about INABTA, because as I mentioned, I work for the IOTA Foundation, and we are also like founding members of INABTA, and we both work with like partnerships. Like all the projects that I just mentioned, these three, are not only implemented by the IOTA Foundation, but by our community. So part of our role is actually like not only providing a great technology that the community can use to build on top, but actually work together with them in presenting like some ideas and actually like build like lighthouse projects that then later on can be replicated by others in our community, whether they make it profitable or they want to keep working only on non-profit or sustainability topics without the business model. But we also, as I mentioned, cooperate with INABTA. Not only cooperate, I lead the Social Impact Working Group since 3 years, and I'm a member of the board. And INABTA is actually an amazing, let's call it tool or platform, because like different stakeholders from academia, government, Layer 1 projects, all come together to advocate and showcase the potential of blockchain. And we do it in different like working groups. Like we have 6 working groups. As I mentioned, I lead social impact. I do a lot of regulation as well, regulatory work. So I like work with the finance working group quite often, and privacy with everything that is going on with the Data Act as yesterday. But I'm going to talk about one initiative that we have with the Social Impact Working Group, because I don't have that much time. We do a lot of things, but like this is actually like the one that like I'm pushing right now because of the potential. So we are actually working in this initiative with the patronage of the High President of the General Assembly, UN General Assembly, and we are basically responding on a call to action that is, we need to make a bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. So there's a lot of projects working on blockchain for sustainability, blockchain for social impact, and at the same time, we have a lot of organization in the development sector. We have UN agencies. I don't even know how many do we have. We have organizations working at the community level, and basically, they can really make use of some of the solutions that blockchain projects are creating. And not even blockchain projects only working on sustainability, is like in general, like NFTs and the carbon market trade, for example. Like there's a lot of like tools there that can be used to accelerate what organizations on the Web 2 space have been doing for decades, and they have not managed to like solve the problems that we still have in society. So we all came together, like these different organizations. I represent INABTA, IOTA. I'm also part of the expert panel of the EU BOF. But all of these organizations, they have like different nature. We have like international associations, Layer 1, Blockchain Observatory works, or is like kind of like validated for the European Commission. We have think tanks, we have NGOs, and we have collective. And all of them, or all of us came together to actually advocate for the power of blockchain for sustainability. And this is what we are exploring. But then there's like 3 main things that we identify we want to do. The first one is that like, in order to advocate for this, we needed to have a common vision. And we created a manifesto that like now any organization on blockchain or Web 2 can sign and actually like say if they agree with us that this is the vision on how blockchain can generate impact in society and can help us to achieve a sustainable future. We are doing community building. That means that we are onboarding blockchain projects as well as organizations on the Web 2 space, so they can talk together, like they can talk to each other and actually like try to identify projects or line of work or activities that they can implement together. There's a lot of examples. Save the Children is doing NFTs. The World Food Program is also like using blockchain to actually like do more fast distribution and actually like not double expanded distribution in like some of the in the activities that they have. UNHCR is actually using blockchain for donations. So there's a lot of examples, and we want to keep seeing this in society, and we want to keep seeing like beyond the blockchain industry, because otherwise we are not going to scale. Like if we want to scale, we need to bring those outside the bubble, and this is one of the ways. So this is going to be launched next week, hopefully, or like in 2 weeks if we have delays. And you can go to the website, you can sign you can read the manifesto first, and then if you agree with us, sign and actually like be part of the community. And the other thing that we are doing is like a lot of advocacy and education, but we also do it like with the academia and the science behind. So we are actually advocating with information based on actual data. So we don't do like false claims. So as I mentioned, this is how it's going to work, the phase 1 of the initiative. You go into the website, you sign into the manifesto, you join the community, and then you can participate in events, participate in research, participate in reports, participate in programs, participate in activities, and talk directly to the UN and the NGOs that are going to be part of the program. One thing that I need to say is that because there's a lot of things going on the blockchain space, we are curating the projects. So not everyone can access. We are working with like Positive Blockchain that has a database over 2,000 projects working on blockchain for sustainability, and they work with like researchers and collect data, like over like 150 data points per project to actually validate that the project is real and is true and they're not a scam out there. So this is the kind of projects, and the validated ones are the ones that we are going to introduce to the UN and to these NGOs, because we actually want to see the potential of these great projects. That's everything that I needed to say. I hope you could follow without the slides, but otherwise just let me know. I'm happy to send them over. Thank you.